They placed me by the bathrooms. A single folding chair, while every other guest sat at polished tables draped in silk and flowers. My name tag was scribbled in pen, the ink already smudged, like even it wanted to disappear. When I looked toward the head table, my sister grinned, raising her champagne glass as if mocking me silently. You belong there. Before I continue, make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you've ever been treated like you didn't matter. Because what happened next will make you rethink how silence can destroy pride. I wasn't supposed to be there at all. At least that's what Mom said on the phone last week. Chelsea, the wedding is already full. You'll understand. Understand what? That my own family forgot I existed. That after years of being ignored, they wanted me invisible even at my sister's big day. I almost didn't go. But something inside me whispered, go. Let them see what they threw away. When I arrived, everyone stared like I'd crashed the party. My aunt's whisper carried across the room. Is that Chelsea? Didn't she move away? My mother avoided my eyes. My father only gave a tight nod, pretending he was too busy to talk. I smiled politely, even when my sister's maid of honor took my gift and shoved it aside, muttering, we'll find a place for that later. They thought I came empty-handed. They thought I was still the same struggling, jobless girl who left town years ago. They had no idea what I'd built in silence. No one did. Dinner started, and as I reached for the menu, a waiter stopped me. Sorry, ma'am. This seat doesn't include dinner service. For a second, I froze. My sister glanced over, hiding a smirk behind her wine glass. My mother leaned toward her and whispered something that made them both laugh. The sound cut through me like glass, but I stayed calm. I didn't fight. Not yet, because tonight wasn't about revenge. It was about proof. And when the clock hit 8, proof was exactly what everyone got. The music softened. A man in a black suit walked to the front, holding the microphone. My sister, glowing in her designer gown, held her husband's arm like she'd won everything she ever wanted. The hall sparkled. Chandeliers, laughter, champagne, and yet all I could hear was the faint echo of my own heartbeat. Then the man cleared his throat. Before we move on to the first dance, the bride and groom would like to thank someone very special. Someone who made this night possible. I looked around, expecting a business sponsor, maybe her husband's company. But then my sister's eyes met mine. That smirk again. We want to thank our investors, she said sweetly, especially the generous supporter whose company helped fund the entire venue. The crowd clapped. I didn't, because I already knew who that investor was. She just didn't know it was me. A year ago, I had started a small event company in another city. We managed luxury weddings, corporate galas, and brand launches. What my family never realized was that the very company my sister hired to plan her wedding was mine. I stayed quiet, watching as she bragged about her amazing planner, how they handled every detail perfectly. The guests clapped again, and I smiled, letting her dig her own stage deeper. When the host invited the event coordinator to come forward and receive appreciation, my staff looked around nervously. They knew who should step up, but I had told them to wait for my cue. I rose slowly from my chair by the bathrooms, heels clicking against marble. Conversation stopped. My mother's fork froze midair. My father's eyes widened. "Excuse me," I said calmly, walking toward the stage. "There's been a little mistake." The room fell silent. My sister's smile faltered. "I'm the owner of Crystal & Co. Events," I continued, voice steady. "And yes, we did plan this entire wedding." Gasps, murmurs. Someone dropped their glass. My sister's face turned pale. "You're lying," she whispered. I tilted my head, still smiling. "Then maybe your contract signature might refresh your memory." The projector behind the stage flickered. My assistant, following our plan, displayed the signed document on screen. The logo, my name, the date, everything. People turned. Phones came out. Cameras clicked. For years, they treated me as if I was invisible. But tonight, I wasn't invisible anymore. For a few seconds, no one spoke. You could hear the air conditioning hum, the faint clink of a spoon dropping somewhere in the back. My sister's mouth opened, but no words came out. Her groom looked from me to her like he had just realized he'd married a stranger. I didn't know. She finally stuttered, forcing a laugh that cracked halfway. Chelsea, this isn't funny. Funny? I repeated softly. You think it's funny that you paid thousands of dollars to the sister you once called a failure? Gasps rippled through the hall. My father's face darkened. My mother stood up suddenly, her voice trembling. Chelsea, sit down. You're embarrassing your family. I turned to her, calm but sharp. Mom, you did that years ago, when you told everyone I wasn't invited because I'd bring bad energy. Her lips pressed tight. My aunt's eyes darted between us, pretending to sip her drink. The guests started whispering. Even the photographers stopped clicking. Before I continue, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you've ever been underestimated. Because what I'm about to tell you next will make you believe in karma like never before. I looked around the hall slowly, taking in every face that once watched me fail. You all thought I left town because I was weak, but the truth is I left because I was done being treated like trash. I worked 3 jobs, slept on couches, saved every cent, and built something of my own. No one believed I could, not even my own parents. My sister's groom frowned. Wait, you said this company was owned by your friend in New York. Her face flushed red. I didn't know. She must have used the same name, or I cut her off. Don't bother. You always wanted my life to look small so yours could look big. Even as kids, you took credit for everything I did. Remember when I painted that mural for school, and you told everyone you made it? This wedding is no different. You stole my work again. Only this time, the truth had a louder microphone. People began to whisper, but I didn't stop. You mocked me when I lost my first job. You laughed when I said I wanted to start a business. But now, every flower in this hall, every sparkle in this chandelier, you paid me for it. My mother's eyes filled with tears, but they weren't of guilt. They were of anger. Why are you doing this, Chelsea? We're family. Were we? I said quietly. Family doesn't throw someone out because she earns less. Family doesn't pretend she doesn't exist. My father stepped forward, his tone low. You could have just told us. I did, I said. You didn't listen. He hesitated, realizing there was no comeback that could erase years of silence. Then my sister snapped, her voice shrill. You think you're so special now? You just plan parties. You're nothing compared to what I've built with Michael. The groom, Michael, turned slowly toward her. What you built, he repeated. Funny, because every supplier here was paid under Chelsea's company name. Even the venue contract. Her face froze. What? He took out his phone, scrolled, then looked at me. Is this true? Yes, I said simply. And before you ask, your payment receipts are already in your inbox. Full transparency. I don't steal credit. The audience clapped softly, some even nodded. My sister stood there shaking, mascara streaking down her cheeks. I leaned forward just enough for her to hear me. You spent your whole life trying to make me invisible. Tonight you did the opposite, her jaw trembled. You planned this. No, I whispered. You did. The moment you treated me like an embarrassment, you wrote the script yourself. The lights from the chandeliers gleamed against her wet eyes, and for the first time, she didn't look powerful. She looked small, and the best part? The night wasn't over yet, because there was still one surprise left. One that would change how everyone saw me forever. Everyone stared at me like they were watching a movie they didn't understand yet. I could see it in their eyes, curiosity mixed with guilt, and fear slowly crawling up their throats. My sister's perfect smile was gone. All that was left was panic hiding behind fake confidence. Chelsea, my father began, voice strained. Enough of this drama. We're here for a wedding, not your revenge show. I tilted my head, calm but cold. You're right, Dad. This isn't revenge. It's just business. Murmurs spread across the hall again. My words cut through the music, through the whispers, through years of them pretending I wasn't good enough. Before I continue, if you're still watching, hit that share button. Because what's about to unfold next will make you question what family loyalty really means. I stepped closer to the stage, facing my sister and her husband. You said this venue was your dream location, right? The one you've been planning since you were 16? She nodded slightly, not sure where I was going with this. "Well," I said, taking a slow breath, "you might want to read your contract again." Her brows furrowed. "What contract?" I turned to my assistant standing near the DJ booth. "Play the presentation." The screen behind us changed again, this time showing a digital document stamped with my company's logo. The guests gasped when the title appeared. Exclusive Ownership Agreement, the Glass Haven Estate. "That," I said, pointing at the screen, "is the property deed for this venue. I bought it 6 months ago. You could have heard a pin drop." The groom blinked. "Wait, you own this place?" "Every inch of it," I replied. "The gardens, the ballroom, the staff, everything. Which means tonight, technically, you all are celebrating inside my property." My sister took a shaky step forward. "You're lying!" "You couldn't afford this." Her voice cracked. I smiled, slow and steady. "You'd be surprised what people can afford when no one's watching them fail." The hall buzzed with murmurs again. Some of the guests were already recording. My mother covered her mouth. My father just stared like he'd seen a ghost. "You said you left because you couldn't handle pressure," my aunt blurted out from the second row. I turned to her. "No. I left because I couldn't handle disrespect. There's a difference." My sister's groom looked completely stunned now. "So you planned your own company, got this venue, and then what? Waited for us to come begging for your services?" I shrugged lightly. "Not planned, just karma working on schedule." My sister's eyes filled with tears. "You're ruining my wedding." "No," I said softly. "You already did that the day you decided my presence would be your biggest embarrassment. I just gave you a mirror." People began whispering louder now, some in disbelief, some in awe. The once proud bride stood frozen in front of the very stage she claimed as hers. But inside, I wasn't done. Not yet. Because there was one more truth. One buried so deep that when it came out, it wouldn't just shake my sister. It would destroy everything my parents had tried to hide for years, and I was finally ready to tell it. The silence after my last words was heavy, like everyone in the room had stopped breathing. I could see the confusion on their faces, the fear in my sister's trembling hands, and the guilt flashing in my father's eyes. He already knew what was coming. "Chelsea," he said again, voice low and shaky this time. "Please, let's talk privately." I cut him off. "No, Dad. For years you told me to stay quiet, to not embarrass the family. But tonight, everyone's going to hear the truth." I turned to the guests, my voice firm and steady. "You all probably think this is about a wedding, about jealousy, but it's not. It's about a deal that was made 12 years ago, one that cost me everything." My sister's groom looked between us, lost. "What deal?" I smiled bitterly. "The one that paid for her college, with my inheritance." Gasps filled the room. My mother stood frozen, color draining from her face. "You see," I continued, "my grandfather left me a trust fund when I turned 18. Money meant for my own business, my education, my start in life. But my parents told me there was a bank error, that the money was gone." I turned toward my father. "Except it wasn't gone, was it?" He looked down. My sister's lip quivered. "Dad, what is she talking about?" I pressed forward. "They transferred it to you, Grace. Every single cent. They said it was better invested in your future, because I was the one who'd probably fail." Tears rolled down my sister's cheeks. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't." "I know you didn't," I said quietly. "But you enjoyed the life it gave you. The designer clothes, the private college, the connections. While I worked night shifts just to afford rent." The hall was dead silent. Only the faint hum of the chandelier buzzed above us. I took a deep breath. I used to cry about it every night. I used to think maybe I deserved it. Maybe I wasn't enough. But now, I smiled faintly. Now I see it differently. You didn't steal my future. You just made me build one that didn't need your approval. I turned to my parents. You took my inheritance, but I built an empire. You tried to erase me, but here I stand. And you're the ones answering to me now. For the first time, my father's eyes softened. "Chelsea, we made mistakes." "Mistakes?" I laughed softly. "No, choices, and choices have consequences." I walked toward the exit, heels clicking against the marble floor. Everyone watched as I paused by the doorway, looking back one last time. "I didn't come here for revenge," I said, my voice calm but unshakable. "I came here to close the chapter you all wrote without me." My sister sobbed quietly. My mother couldn't even lift her head. My father stood frozen in place. As I stepped out of the hall, the cold night air hit my face. Cameras still flashing behind me, guests whispering, my name already spreading across the internet. I smiled to myself. They took my past. But tonight, I took back my story.